I had the wonderful privilege of being born into a Christian home. I have parents that loved me greatly and also loved the Lord, and they taught me the gospel, taught me the good news about what Jesus had done for me. It was a very loving family to grow up in. When I entered my teenage years, that's when idols started creeping into my heart. And one of the idols that became very prevalent was music. In today's age, kids will be putting up their idols all over Facebook, but we didn't have Facebook back then. So my room became a shrine to rock and roll music. I had Echo and the Bunnymen and Duran Duran and The Cure all over my room, and I just loved and, in a sense, worshiped music. This became very contentious with my parents and with my family, so much so that it fostered a rebellion against my dad, specifically, and really against church. And also what happened during those years in my teenage years was that I really struggled academically. I was cutting class. I didn't really care about anything in life except music. My parents rescued me in one sense by taking me out of Hart High School, which didn't have any fences there. You could come and go as you wish. And they took me out of there and put me in a private Christian school that had a 30-foot fence around it. I could no longer cut class. I went there kicking and screaming and angry with my parents and angry at God. Lo and behold, did I not know that my future wife was going to school there at the same time. So God was already at work with His great plan. That summer in 1986, not only did I go to LA Baptist High School, but I got to go to a camp in Hume Lake. And there a preacher named Dewey Bertolini was preaching on sin. He was preaching on idolatry. He was preaching on the cross of Jesus Christ as the fix for idolatry and for sin. One of the things that became very clear to me was that this idolatry that I had in my heart with music and this rebellion that I had towards my dad was actually rebellion and sin against God specifically. That when I was disobedient and fighting my dad, that ultimately I was disobedient and fighting the Lord. And I realized that, you know what, this is personal. That these sins that I'm committing are against a holy God. And God is angry with my sin. And I felt a conviction about the fact that if I died in that moment, right then and there, I would be separated from God because of His wrath and anger towards my sin. The good news was that also at this camp, I learned that God in His rich mercy and love sent Jesus Christ to die, and that He just didn't do it in a general sense, but He did it for me specifically and personally. And I knew that I had sinned against Him, but I wanted His forgiveness. I wanted His salvation. And it was at that camp where I just surrendered my life to Christ, and I just called out to Him and said, Lord, thank You for dying for my sins. Thank You for being willing to forgive my sins. Thank You for paying the penalty on the cross. Today, I have a passion to share the truth, to share the good news with anybody and everybody. And right now, specifically, the great privilege that I have at FBC is to share the gospel with junior hires week in and week out. My wife and I are happy to be serving there and presenting the good news of what Jesus did on the cross for our sins.